And our next news story has to do with Black Lives Matter again, being all up in arms over a deputy deploying their taser on a 15-year-old male. And as you can imagine, there's probably good cause for this. An officer just normally doesn't pull out their taser. They normally just don't pull out their gun. There's probably a reason for it. And that reason is probably logical because Black Lives Matter has a tendency to get all angry about anything that happens to a black person, even if it happens to another black person. I'll give you two examples. You had Kamala Bryant, a black girl, actively trying to stab another black girl in the neck with a knife, and you had a cop shoot her dead, and they were up in arms about it. Just the other day, you had a Black Lives Matter protest, protesting cops shooting and killing a man who shot into a woman's apartment that had two black kids. And the woman actually showed up at the protest and just completely baffled as to why are you protesting what took place? Why is that guy not a bad guy? Because there's no personal responsibility with this organization. This organization, in terms of personal responsibility, mimics that of the Democrat Party where there is none. So let's go over the details of this, and then we'll jump into the video clip. So two Florida civil rights groups, including Black Lives Matter, are calling for an independent investigation after a female Polk County sheriff's deputy used a taser on a 15-year-old male during a domestic disturbance at a Davenport motel. The details of it are that the deputy was trying to get the teen under control after deputy said he beat, shoved, and bit his 7-month pregnant girlfriend, adding that the investigator said the pair was arguing over a cell phone during the July 8th incident. The girlfriend is 19 years old, and after getting tased, the investigator said that the male teen continued to resist arrest. But nothing wrong here, folks, by this guy, this gentleman who beat the crap out of his pregnant girlfriend, bit her, shoved her. Nothing's wrong with them. It's all the police officer's fault. All of it's the police officer's fault. Well, let's go ahead and roll the tape on this one.
Motherfucking ass!
So he's not following commands.
She doing? I'm not doing nothing. Turn around. Man, get the police off me. Man, Dad. Bro, don't fight it. Yo, listen, chill, bro. I ain't doing nothing. I'm calm. She's a female, bro. Chill. I'm not doing nothing. Man.
I'm not doing nothing, but she was called because of a disturbance because you're beating the crap out of your girlfriend, your pregnant girlfriend, over a cell phone. She's clearly trying to detain you with your arm behind your back. She's giving you orders of which you're not following. Your right arm is slacked down, meaning it's not behind your back like it's supposed to be. You're moving towards the door away from the officer, of which the officer tries to put you up against the wall. And you're screaming, by the way, no, all this stuff. Why don't you just follow the officer's orders? That way you don't get tased. But again, it's everybody else's fault. It's never this guy's fault. It's never the suspect's fault that just got done just beating the crap out of his girlfriend or shooting at police officers or killing somebody. Again, this is Black Lives Matter's kind of idea and their theology that it's never the person's fault. It's everybody else's fault for doing something to that person that just committed a crime.
Take it the away.
Let me go. Let me go.
Yeah, do it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So everybody's always baffled that there is repercussions for your actions, that something actually happened to you when somebody says they're going to do something. They never believe you until it actually happens. But this person resisted arrest, told multiple times to do something, didn't want to do it, said you're going to get tased if you didn't do it, and is completely baffled. And then you have Black Lives Matter coming out in support of this guy. In support of this guy, not the cop, but that guy. Thankfully, you have Polk County Sheriff, Chief, Deputy, whatever you want to call him, coming out and supporting his police officer on this issue. Let's go ahead and roll that tape.
Well, I can tell you this, Polk County is Polk County and Grady Judd is Grady Judd. No surprises there. So you're probably not going to be surprised to find out how he reacted to this whole thing. He praised his officer for doing the right thing, for restraining herself to a certain point. But he said if he was in that situation, guess what? He would have tased this 15-year-old a whole lot sooner. So Judd says a series of events led up to what happened at the Sunset Palms Hotel last Friday. He says Xavier Jordan roughed up his 19-year-old pregnant girlfriend severely enough that Jordan's mom called the sheriff's office to come help. Judd says when Sergeant Shannon Gaylord got there, the situation was really chaotic. She tried to get Jordan in cuffs, but he was uncooperative. He pointed out that Gaylord is much smaller than Jordan, so when he threatened to punch her not once but 3 times, she used a taser on him.
When you beat up your girlfriend and then actively resist the sergeant, and it frightens the people at the motel to the point that they come to aid the cops, you got a situation on your hands. And that's what we had here, was a situation, and she took control of it.
Black Lives Matter says Jordan may have verbally threatened the officer, but he wasn't physically resistant when he was tased, so he shouldn't have been. Black Lives Matter also says Jordan has a developmental challenge, and the officer should have taken that into consideration and tried harder to de-escalate the situation. The sheriff's office saying no one told them that was a situation when they got the 911 call, and using the taser actually calmed things down without anyone getting hurt. Black Lives Matter is calling for an investigation, as you said, by the Department of Justice and demanding that the Polk County Sheriff's Office get body cameras. Now, that's something that the sheriff has said over and over again he is staunchly against. Something else the sheriff said, if any one of his officers finds themselves in a similar situation in the future, he expects them to do the same thing that she did. Back to you.
I absolutely love this officer supporting his personnel and taking a step further and saying, look, if any of my other officers are involved in this type of situation, I want you to do exactly as she did. So not bowing down and not apologizing to Black Lives Matter. And it wasn't just Black Lives Matter involved in all this hubbub. You also had the Poor and Minority Justice Association saying that the sheriff's office used excessive force. I didn't see excessive force there. I mean, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't with these people. On one end of the spectrum, you got a guy that will point a gun at your face attempting to shoot you or shot at you. And so you shoot him dead, and they'll go and riot. And then you have this officer here that's giving this person commands, telling him what to do, and the result of if they don't do it, what's going to happen. So he gets tased. So the same people that says, oh, well, you should have tased him, you should have pepper sprayed him rather than kill him and shot him. You have that situation taking place here, and it's still not good enough. So it just shows you that they just want to go out and protest. They just want to go out and riot. They want to collect people's money, spend it on mansions, $6 million mansions in a white suburban area that they just get done crapping on white people all the time, as well as defund the police, and they still want to push all this stuff. And that's why the organization is trash. Black Lives Matter is a trash organization. And they say that unjust charges in the incident was involved as well. And so the teen was suffering a mental breakdown stemming from a developmental disability, as if the police officer is supposed to know all this stuff. The police officer is supposed to be telepathically in your mind, understanding everything that happened before they showed up, understanding everything that you're going through, all the situations that you have in life, all your medical disabilities. They're just supposed to be completely aware of before all this stuff took place. Get out of here. I mean, so unreasonable, so ridiculous. But again, another situation of Black Lives Matter supporting somebody that shouldn't, which is consistent with them. What's more, the group argued that cell phone video recorded by the teen's mother proves he wasn't a threat at the time he was tased. How do you know that he wasn't a threat? Again, this whole idea that you're supposed to know what's in his mind. I'm okay with her tasering. Look how small that officer is. That officer is tiny, and he's clearly not abiding by it, and I don't see any other officers around. So if she was by herself, yeah, you need to detain him. You need to get the situation under control. You don't know who's in the house. You don't know who has a gun on them. You don't know if he has a knife or gun on him. So you don't know what's going to happen to you. Yeah, tase the guy. You should continue to tase him until he actually wanted to listen, because once you tased him, he was still trying to get up off the ground. He still didn't want to listen. But, again, it's all her fault. It's always the police's fault. It's never the person who committed the crime. They just got done beating the crap out of his girlfriend. But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about any of their rap sheet or anything like that, because then it makes him look bad. But yeah, we'll go find some second grade, third grade photo of him to make it look like he's, a prestigious young man that hasn't done anything wrong. Yeah, he's beating the crap out of his pregnant girlfriend over a freaking cell phone. Furthermore, WTVT said that the teen faces charges on battery on a pregnant individual, assault on a law enforcement officer, battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting without violence, and resisting with violence. The station added that he has no prior convictions for battery or assault. Well, just because he doesn't have any prior convictions doesn't mean he's done it before. You just don't randomly go start beating the crap out of your pregnant girlfriend. A lot of times you've been dealing with something beforehand and probably been letting it go for a while. I'd be curious on what the girlfriend says if she's been punched or hit by this guy before, because you don't just lose your crap over a cell phone and just start swinging, you know what I mean, on your pregnant girlfriend. A lot of times you have situations that have risen before something like this ever happened. Because if you're losing your crap over a freaking cell phone, it makes me wonder what he's losing his crap over. Maybe like you come home one day after, a hard day at work and dinner ain't made. I'm joking, of course, but you get the joke. You get the joke. Ridiculous and crazy. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.